She drove 2.5 hours from Little Rock to Memphis, her heart racing with anger and heartbreak. What began as a quiet journey turned into a storm of emotions. By the time she reached his apartment, her mind was made up. Moments later, a gunshot echoed through the air, leaving a pastor dead and his wife screaming for help. A secret 3-year affair had just ended in the most tragic way imaginable. This is one of those stories that makes you question how love, trust, and faith can twist into something deadly. In April 2019, a woman named Monica Daniels drove 2.5 hours from Little Rock, Arkansas to Memphis, Tennessee, after a secret 3-year affair with her pastor, Reverend Marcus Perry. Within minutes of arriving at his apartment, Monica pulled out a gun and shot him in front of his wife, Tabitha Perry. What started as marriage counseling ended in a shocking crime of passion that left a community in disbelief. Before we go deeper into this case, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new story. And tell us in the comments where you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories reach. Now let's go back to where it all began. It all started 3 years earlier inside a small church on the south side of Little Rock. Monica Daniels had just gone through a painful breakup, and she was searching for peace. Friends told her about a pastor who had a gift for healing broken hearts through faith and counseling. That man was Reverend Marcus Perry. At first, their meetings were innocent. She would come to his office every Thursday evening, and they would talk for hours about forgiveness, trust, and moving on. Marcus was charming. His voice was calm. His words carried warmth. And soon Monica began to feel something she hadn't felt in a long time. Comfort. But comfort slowly turned into dependency. She started calling him late at night just to hear his voice. Marcus didn't stop her. In fact, he encouraged the closeness. He told her that God sometimes connects people for a reason, and that what they shared was spiritual. Behind the pulpit, he was a man of God. But behind closed doors, the boundaries started to blur. What began as counseling soon became intimacy. They went out of town together, checked into hotels during church conferences, and shared text messages that no pastor should ever send. Monica believed he loved her. She believed that one day he would leave his wife for her. But as the years passed, she realized she was living in a secret world, one that Marcus controlled completely. And when she found out the truth about his promises, the anger inside her started to grow into something darker. By the 3rd year of their affair, Monica Daniels had built her entire world around Reverend Marcus Perry. She believed every word he said, every promise he whispered. He told her he was trapped in an unhappy marriage, that he just needed time to fix things before being with her openly. But time kept passing, and nothing changed. Marcus was still preaching every Sunday about faith, loyalty, and marriage, while sneaking into hotel rooms with Monica during the week. Every sermon, every smile, every post with his wife on social media felt like a knife in Monica's heart. She started to question everything. One night, she called him and heard a woman's voice in the background. It was his wife, Tabitha. That night, something inside Monica snapped. She began keeping track of his schedule, watching his posts, reading the way he spoke about his wife. In her mind, she wasn't just a mistress anymore. She was the woman he betrayed, the woman who gave everything and was thrown aside. When Marcus tried to pull away from her, she refused to let go. She sent him messages that grew more desperate, more emotional, more threatening. She told him, "If I can't have you, no one else will." He thought she was bluffing, but Monica meant every word. On a quiet April evening in 2019, Monica Daniels packed her small black bag. Inside, she placed her phone, a few personal items, and a handgun she kept locked away since college. She stared at her reflection in the mirror for a long time, her face calm, but her eyes hollow. Then she got into her car and began the long drive from Little Rock to Memphis. 2.5 hours of silence, pain, and obsession. She replayed every memory of Marcus Perry in her head. The hotel rooms, the long talks, the tears, the lies. Her heart raced with every mile, torn between love and rage. The road was dark and empty. She didn't listen to music. She didn't call anyone. All she could hear was her own breathing and the sound of the tires rolling over the asphalt. In her mind, she wasn't driving toward a crime. She was driving toward closure. By the time she crossed the bridge into Memphis, Her mind was no longer searching for answers. She already knew what she was going to do. She whispered to herself, "He made me believe in him. Now he'll listen." It was close to midnight when she pulled up outside his apartment complex. The lights inside were still on, and that's when everything she had been holding in for 3 years, the love, the jealousy, the betrayal, began to spill over. When Monica Daniels reached Reverend Marcus Perry's apartment, she didn't knock right away. She stood outside for a moment, listening. Through the door, she could hear laughter, the kind of laughter she used to share with him. It wasn't the voice of a pastor or a counselor. It was the sound of a man happy in his home, with his wife by his side. Her hand trembled as she pressed the doorbell. Inside, Marcus froze when he saw her face through the peephole. He opened the door halfway, trying to keep calm, but his voice shook. "Monica, what are you doing here?" She forced a smile. "You said we would talk, remember?" Tabitha, his wife, appeared behind him, confused but polite. "Marcus, who is this?" The silence between the three of them was heavy. Monica stepped inside, uninvited. The air was tense. She looked around the living room. Family photos, a Bible on the table, wedding pictures on the wall. Everything she saw reminded her that she never truly belonged here. Marcus tried to calm her down. "You shouldn't have come here. We ended this." Her voice cracked. "Ended this? After everything we shared?" Tears filled her eyes, but her hands were steady. Tabitha realized something wasn't right. She told Marcus to call the police, but before he could move, Monica reached into her bag. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "You lied to me." Marcus raised his hands, trying to reason with her. "Monica, please, don't do this. Let's talk." But it was too late. The years of pain, confusion, and heartbreak had turned into something uncontrollable. And in that living room, surrounded by everything he had kept hidden, Monica Daniels made a decision that would change all their lives forever. The room fell silent. Marcus took a slow step forward, his palms still raised. "Monica, you don't want to do this," he said quietly. "You're upset. Let's pray. Please." But prayer was the last thing on her mind. For 3 years she had prayed for him, loved him, believed him, and now he stood in front of her, not as the man she loved, but as the man who ruined her life. Her hands shook as she pointed the gun at him. Tabitha screamed, begging her to stop, but Monica's face was blank, her voice flat. "You promised me, Marcus. You said I mattered." Marcus took one last step. "I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt you." Monica's eyes filled with tears. For a moment, she almost lowered the gun. Then her voice broke. "You already did." A loud bang echoed through the apartment. Marcus stumbled backward, clutching his chest. Tabitha screamed his name as he fell to the floor. Monica stood frozen, staring at what she had done. The smell of gunpowder filled the air. The man who once prayed over her was now lying lifeless at her feet. Tabitha dropped to the floor beside her husband, crying uncontrollably, shouting for help. Monica backed away slowly, her breath uneven, her body shaking. In that moment, reality hit her. The affair, the lies, the anger. It all ended in a single pull of the trigger. Outside, neighbors began to gather as screams filled the hallway. And just like that, the secret they had kept for years was now a tragedy everyone would soon know about. The sound of the gunshot still echoed in Monica's ears. She stood frozen, staring at the motionless body on the floor. Tabitha Perry held her husband's head, sobbing and screaming for someone to call 911. Blood was spreading fast across the living room rug. Monica dropped the gun. Her hands trembled, her lips shaking as if she couldn't believe what she had done. Neighbors rushed into the hallway, shouting, terrified by the noise. One of them called the police while another tried to keep Tabitha calm. When officers arrived, they found Marcus lying in a pool of blood, and Monica sitting quietly on the couch, staring blankly at the wall. Her voice was faint when she said, "I didn't mean to. I just wanted him to listen." They handcuffed her gently, as if afraid she might break. Outside, blue and red lights lit up the night sky. Neighbors stood in silence, some crying, some whispering, trying to understand how a respected pastor could end up dead inside his own home. Tabitha was taken away in an ambulance, her cries echoing down the street. Monica didn't say a word as officers led her to the patrol car. She looked at the church sticker still on Marcus's car parked nearby and whispered, "He said he loved me." That was the last thing she said before the door closed and the sirens began to fade into the distance. Hours later, Monica Daniels sat in a small, cold interrogation room. The walls were plain. The only sound was the ticking of a clock and the shuffle of papers. Detectives looked at her, expecting anger or defiance, but all they saw was emptiness. Finally, breaches, one of them spoke. "Monica, we know what happened tonight. Tell us why." She looked up slowly, her eyes wet but steady. "I loved him," she whispered. Detectives leaned forward, confused. "You loved him? You shot him?" Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I loved him for 3 years. I believed him. He promised me everything. I thought he would leave her, that we could be together. I thought I mattered." The room went silent. Her voice broke as she recounted the late-night calls, the hotel meetings, the whispered promises of a life together. Every lie, every betrayal Marcus had fed her came back to haunt her now. "I waited. I gave him everything, and he never left her. I begged him. I prayed with him, and he laughed, pretending everything was fine." Detectives listened quietly, stunned by the intensity of her emotion. It wasn't just a crime of passion. It was heartbreak, obsession, and years of betrayal all exploding at once. Monica Daniels didn't try to hide her feelings. She admitted the affair. She admitted the stalking. And finally, she admitted that when she pulled the trigger, she didn't just want him to listen. She wanted him to feel the weight of all the pain he caused her. Monica Daniels' arrest quickly made headlines. The story of a pastor's secret affair ending in murder shocked the entire Memphis community. Friends of Marcus Perry couldn't believe it. Churchgoers whispered in disbelief, trying to reconcile the image of a man of God with the man who had led a secret double life. When Monica appeared in court, she looked fragile but resolute. The prosecutors detailed the 3-year affair, the late-night texts, and the planning that led to that fatal night. Her defense tried to explain her actions as a crime of passion, fueled by heartbreak and betrayal. But the photos, the timeline of the drive, and witness testimonies left little doubt about the reality of what had happened. Outside the courtroom, community members gathered, some crying, some angry. Many wondered how a trusted spiritual leader could lead someone to this point of despair. Others debated Monica's motives. Was it love gone wrong, or something darker, something she had let grow inside her for years? During the trial, Monica spoke little, letting the evidence speak for itself. The jury listened carefully, weighing her heartbreak against the violent act that ended a life. It was a tense, emotional process that left everyone involved forever changed. Even after the trial, the questions lingered. Could the tragedy have been avoided? Were the warnings ignored? And most importantly, how does someone go from faith and love to revenge and murder in the span of 3 years? The story of Monica Daniels and Reverend Marcus Perry is a chilling reminder of how secrets, lies, and obsession can completely destroy lives. What started as trust, faith, and a quiet pursuit of comfort ended in betrayal, heartbreak, and ultimately, murder. A pastor, a wife, and a woman driven by love and rage, all caught in a web of deception that could have been prevented if only someone had acted sooner. As we reflect on what happened, it's impossible not to wonder what could have been done differently. Could someone in Monica's life have noticed the warning signs? Could boundaries have been enforced to prevent a private affair from turning into public tragedy? Could heartbreak and jealousy have been addressed before they escalated into a violent, irreversible act? For Monica, the drive from Little Rock to Memphis was far more than a journey of miles. It was a journey of emotions, of memories, of years of longing, anger, and betrayal that had built up until they became impossible to control. Every mile brought her closer to the man she loved, the man she felt had betrayed her, and the moment when all of her emotions collided in one fatal decision. And for the community, the memories of that night still linger. Neighbors, friends, and church members who once trusted Marcus Perry now struggle to reconcile the image of a spiritual leader with the man who led a secret life. The grief, the shock, and the disbelief ripple through the lives of everyone connected to this tragedy. It is a reminder that even the people we trust most, the ones who seem upright and faithful, can hide dangerous secrets, and those secrets can have deadly consequences. But beyond the headlines and the court cases, there is the human story. There is the pain of Tabitha Perry, a wife who witnessed the death of her husband at the hands of someone he had deceived. There is the anguish of Monica Daniels, whose heartbreak and obsession led to a moment she cannot undo, a moment that will define the rest of her life. There is the lesson for all of us, that unchecked emotions, betrayal, and secrecy can spiral into devastation when no one intervenes. Now we want to hear from you. What do you think about this case? Could Monica have been stopped before it was too late? Was this the result of a single moment of passion, or the cumulative effect of years of manipulation, lies, and broken trust? Do you think love, obsession, or revenge drove her actions? Or was it a combination of all three? Comment below where you are watching from and tell us your thoughts. Share your perspective on how this tragedy could have been avoided and what lessons you take from it. Do you think there were signs people overlooked? Could intervention have prevented this? Your opinion matters because stories like this are meant to make us reflect, to question, and to learn from the darkest moments of human behavior. If this story shocked you, unsettled you, or left you thinking, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another story like this. We bring you real stories of crime, betrayal, and the dark side of human emotions. Stories that teach lessons we cannot ignore. Remember, these are real lives, real people, and real tragedies that leave lasting consequences. Monica Daniels' actions changed so many lives forever. Marcus Perry's secrets destroyed the lives of those who trusted him, and Tabitha Perry, along with everyone connected to this case, will carry the memory of that night for the rest of their lives. As you reflect on this story, ask yourself, what would you have done if you were in Monica's position? Could heartbreak drive someone to this level of violence? Or is this a tragic example of how obsession and deceit can twist a human heart beyond repair? We want to hear your thoughts, your theories, and your reflections. Comment below, engage with this story, and let us know what you think. Your perspective could spark a conversation about warning signs, morality, and the human capacity for both love and destruction. Thank you for watching. Stories like this remind us of the fragile line between trust and betrayal, love and obsession, faith and deceit. And as more stories come, we will continue to explore the moments where ordinary people make extraordinary, often tragic choices. Stay with us, subscribe, and share your thoughts. Because every story has lessons, every crime has a warning, and every life involved reminds us that the consequences of human emotion can be as powerful as they are deadly.